Hi, I'm Dr. Cindy Dupuy. I have a PhD in learning disabilities. I'm an adult with dyslexia and dysgraphia.
Hi, my name is Kim Sharman, and I've been working with kids for the last 15 years who have dyslexia, dysgraphia, ADHD.
And we're here to do another of our snack videos, which are kind of fun, aren't they, Kim?
Yes, they're very fun.
Some days they're a little goofier than others. So we got a response back on some of the videos that were put up on the Decoding Dyslexia website. And one of the question was, what what are we doing for assessment? What are we actually what tools like the question wasn't very specific, but it's kind of like, what is this early screening test going to do? Right.
It's for the public schools, you mean?
Yeah, and what are teachers
Mhm.
going to be expected to do? And
Right.
so what we thought we'd do is spend a minute kind of talking about that. I'm going to apologize. My camera is tweaked here. Let me untweak a little bit. So there's two main areas that schools are required to screen now in K through 2. So all kindergartners through second graders now have to be screened in two areas. Okay. Kim, do you know what the first area is?
The first is phonemic awareness.
Right. How would you describe phonemic awareness?
Does the student represent
I spelled that
not
wrong, didn't I?
yeah, it's an E and yeah, a regular E.
Good old dyslexic move there.
MIC. Oh, kill the N and make it an M. Sorry.
That's what I get for spelling and talking simultaneously.
Awareness. Okay.
Okay. How would you define that?
Being aware of understanding the sound symbol correlations. So if I see the letter C on a piece of paper, I can make the k sound. Is
What
it
else? What
also
other sound
auditory?
can you make when you see a C on a paper?
I could make the S sound if that C were followed by an E, I, or Y.
There we go. So, but phonemic awareness is a little more than that, right? So it's like, how do we blend sounds? How do we manipulate sounds? We actually did a whole little video on this. So this is just kind of a reminder. It's about the sounds, it's about how we hear the sounds, it's about how we manipulate the sounds, right?
Mhm.
Okay. Now, what's our second area, Kim?
The second area is called Rapid Automatic Naming Tests, RAM.
And I'm going to abbreviate because I don't want to spend too much time with you fixing my spelling as always. Okay.
Okay.
And so, what do you know what the purpose of the RAN is, Kim?
Well, I had my daughter did poorly on the phonemic awareness test when she was in kindergarten, and so I took her somewhere and I had a rapid automatic naming test done. And it's the ability to be able to rapid fire your brain when you're looking at either some kind of symbol, whether it's a letter, a color, a picture, and to be able to rapidly retrieve that symbol and say it out loud.
And again, we did a little blurb on this as well. So check out the other videos on that. So so these are the two main areas. And so what we wanted to do today was talk just a little bit about what those assessments look like. And so one of the assessments or an example of something that we can show you because it's essentially a free download is something called the pass. Now, Kim, this was the first time you had seen it today, or maybe we talked about it in the past, but you went, oh, that looks great, right? Why?
It's incredibly detailed. I feel like all parents should understand the significance of their kids having difficulty with items 1 through 10, these skill sets that it takes to be able to read and to be a good reader.
Okay, so when the school is coming in, this gives you specific instructions. So let me preface by saying you should not, let me repeat that, you should not practice this on your child if they're in K through 2 because your school district may be using this test on your child. You don't want them to practice and then not be identified as needing help because they've practiced the test. So you actually defeat the whole purpose of this if you pull this out and you do this on your child.
We just want you
Please.
to know why they're doing this and what it's gonna look like. So you don't feel like you're in the dark when the teacher
Yes.
said your daughter did poorly on the rapid automatic naming test.
Okay. So they come in and they say, hey, we're going to do a discrimination task. We're going to do a syllable task. We're going to do some phoneme deletion. And then it actually shows you. So let's do the word discrimination. So I would, if Kim were my student, I would say, Kim, do these two words sound the same or are they different? And I would say, tie, die. Are those the same or different?
Same,
Okay, let's try gum. Gum.
same.
Good. And actually, I shouldn't say good because then I'm actually giving you feedback. So, anyhow, we go down the list and you're listening to hear those differences, and you can kind of see the other things that they're asking kids to do, either counting the number of phonemes, um, breaking words apart, reordering words, a whole bunch of different things. So, great tool. And if kids struggle with this, it tells us that they're going to have a hard time learning to read, right?
But yes, and by the way, I did it on purpose, tie and die,
Yes.
because a lot of kids can't hear the difference between a T and a D sound sometimes.
So Kim was being a great practice victim in demonstrating what a kid would go, whoa, wait, no, that doesn't sound, or that does sound the same, and my ears can't hear the difference. So that's the phonemic awareness, and it's called the PASS test. And it's spelled PAS, and it stands for Phonological Awareness Skills Screener. It's a free download that any teacher can use. Again, please, please, please do not practice this with your child. Let
But
the
Sydney,
school.
when they do the phonemic awareness test on the kids, is it going to be auditory? And will they show them a list of letters and say, what sound does this? It's a symbol of a C. What sound does this make?
So it
Which way are they going
depends.
to do it?
Well, so that's one of the vagaries in the law, and that's actually one of the things they're still working on are what are the critical criteria for the assessments that we're going to say work in the public school system for kids to be assessed, right? So they're coming up and saying these are the kinds of tests we would consider adequate to meet the requirements of the law, and um, these are things that you can use. Now, we've got challenges. So if you're up and down the I-5 corridor, we have tons of money and it's not hard for districts to get a hold of tests. However, in other school districts in the state, they don't have tons of money to buy lots of tests. But let's not go too deep into that. Let's jump into the rapid naming, okay? Because this is part 2. Okay, so the rapid naming is where they are showing kids pictures. Oh, let me actually flip my camera there. Now I'm only showing you part because this is actually from a test, and school districts can still use this test. Ideally, they shouldn't because it's a little old, but it gives you a sense. Okay, I'm going to cover that up and show you one with colors as a rapid naming. And then there's also versions with letters and one with numbers. I don't have the one with the numbers here, but this is one of the tests. I can show you this because this is the practice portion. So this is something called the RAN-RAS, which was developed by Marion Wolf, who's a huge researcher in this area. Kids practice naming the numbers, and then they actually go to the test. Now, Kim, we're going to do a little demo with you, right?
Yep.
Okay, and you are going to be my student who is struggling with reading. We went online and we found a sample of a rapid naming test where um, the the tool is so old that school districts shouldn't be using it, and so it's not necessarily, we're not destroying the ability to use the test. So there's a whole reason they keep the tests so deeply secreted, because otherwise they're no longer valid, because parents will go out, find the information, train a kid, and then we don't actually get real data. All right, so Kim, let's say we did our practice. Now you're going to name all the letters as quickly and as accurately as you can. Are you ready?
Yes.
And begin.
D, S, A, D, O, S, Q, B, A, O, S, A, O, D, P, A, B, O, Q, S.
Good. That's a great example. So I timed her on that. And as the clinician doing the test, I would be marking down the errors and I would be measuring the reading rate so that when you actually go into the test manual, which I think I forgot to bring in, they actually have a table of how quickly an individual should be naming on a test based on their age. So let me give you a tiny little screenshot of that to look at. And so what the clinician ends up doing is what Cindy ends up doing is struggling because she didn't get it saved into the right place. But they actually have a little table that shows you the norms that look like, drum roll please, something like this. So you can see based on a time that the kid names, based on their age, what their percentile rank is and what their standard score is. Now, one of the things that I heard a teacher say is, my gosh, this takes forever. There's so much you have to fill out. Well, the irony to that is you just need the standard score. You don't have to put in all the percentile ranks. You don't have to put in age equivalents. You don't have to put in grade equivalents. You just need the standard score. Okay, so that's the kind of assessment we're going to start screening on. Yes, Kim.
Okay, because I am a parent that went through this, and because I'm a little bit of a nerd, I want to say, did you notice, people watching this video, that sometimes I would get the letter D correct, and sometimes I would not get the letter D correct. Sometimes I would call a P, and sometimes I would call it a Q. So my kid got it right a couple of times, so he does know it. So why would he get it wrong sometimes and right other times? And what does this mean? And as a characteristic of dyslexia, if you do poorly on the rapid automatic naming test.
And to that, I would say they should go watch our RAN video.
Oh.
Don't you remember we did that?
No. I have sort of.
We'll come back and revisit it again. But
short
snack.
But it will happen, and you will see that, and it does mean something.
Yeah. Maybe we'll revisit it after people have had a chance to. All right. Bye.